The wind on Kyle 7 never stopped. It carried red dust across the endless plains, covering everything in a thin layer of rust-colored powder. Taeho wiped his face with a dirty cloth and looked at the hole his team had been digging for 3 weeks. He was 28 years old. His hands were rough from years of hard work. His back hurt most mornings. He was nobody special, just a salvage worker on a border planet, digging up old things from dead civilizations so rich people could put them in museums. The year was 2847. Humanity had spread across 3 star systems, but they were still the youngest race in the Galactic Federation. 12 alien races shared the galaxy, and all of them looked at humans the way adults look at children playing pretend. They were tolerated. Sometimes they were pitied. They were never respected. Taeho did not care about galactic politics. He cared about getting paid. He cared about eating dinner. He cared about surviving one more day. Taeho, come look at this. His teammate Gina was shouting from the bottom of the excavation pit. He climbed down the metal ladder, boots slipping on the dusty rungs. At the bottom, Gina was pointing her light at something in the rock wall. It was a door. A massive door made of black metal, covered in strange symbols that seemed to move when he looked at them directly. What language is that? Gina asked. Taeho felt cold. He did not know why. Get Commander Yong. Commander Yong arrived 20 minutes later. He was an older man, with gray hair and a permanent frown. He had been leading excavation teams for 30 years. He had seen things that would drive normal people mad. But when he saw the door, his face went pale. Everyone out of the pit, he said quietly. Now, seer? I said now. They climbed out. Commander Yong made calls on his communicator. Within an hour, a military shuttle landed near their camp. Soldiers in heavy armor surrounded the excavation site. Scientists in protective suits went down into the pit. Taeho watched from a distance. He should have felt curious. Instead, he felt something pulling at him. Something behind that door was calling to him. It made no sense. He was a salvage worker. He had no special abilities, no special destiny. He was ordinary in every way. That night, Commander Yong called the whole team together. What we found is a vault from the Athrani civilization, he explained. The Athrani ruled this galaxy 12,000 years ago. They were powerful beyond anything we can imagine. Then they disappeared. No one knows why. What is in the vault? Someone asked. Commander Yong hesitated. Armor. A suit of battle armor. The records say it was made for their king. Gina laughed nervously. That sounds valuable. Why do you look so scared? Because that armor has killed 40 warriors who tried to wear it. Commander Yong's voice was flat. Warriors from the strongest races in the galaxy. Each one died within minutes. 81. Number 7. Their bodies burned from inside. Their minds shattered like glass. The Federation classified it as a Class 7 forbidden artifact. It was supposed to stay buried forever. The team was silent. Taeho felt the pulling sensation grow stronger. 3 days passed. Scientists studied the vault. They could not open it safely. They decided to seal it again and leave. On the night before they were supposed to leave, raiders attacked. They came from the sky in fast ships, firing plasma weapons that turned sand into glass. Taeho ran through the chaos, looking for shelter. Explosions threw him to the ground. He tasted blood in his mouth. Around him, people were screaming and dying. He found himself at the excavation pit. He did not remember choosing to go there. His legs had carried him without permission from his brain. The vault door was open. Inside, the scientists lay dead. Their bodies were burned. Someone had tried to open the inner chamber. Taeho should have run. Instead, he walked forward. The pulling sensation was so strong now that resisting it felt impossible. Behind him, he heard raiders entering the pit. Plasma fire hit the walls around him. The inner chamber contained a single pedestal. On it rested armor made of black crystal. It looked like frozen darkness, like a shadow given solid form. Symbols glowed faintly across its surface. A raider appeared at the chamber entrance. His weapon pointed at Tae-ho. "Step away from the artifact, human." Tae-ho touched the armor. The world changed. The black crystal turned liquid. It flowed up his arm like water running uphill. It covered his body in seconds, wrapping around him like a second skin. He waited for pain. He waited for his mind to shatter. Instead, he heard a voice. It was feminine, ancient, and it carried an emotion he did not expect: joy. "My lord," the voice whispered inside his mind. "You have finally come back to me." The raider fired. The plasma bolt hit Tae-ho's chest and disappeared. He did not feel anything. The armor moved before Tae-ho could think. His hand rose. Energy gathered in his palm. Something like black lightning shot forward and hit the raider. The alien warrior simply ceased to exist. More raiders came. The armor dealt with them all. Tae-ho was a passenger in his own body, watching in horror and wonder as ancient technology used his hands to end lives. When it was over, he stood alone in a field of ash. The armor hummed gently against his skin. The voice spoke again, softer now. "I have waited so long, my lord. 12,000 years in the darkness. I rejected all others. I killed those who were unworthy. But you, your blood, sings to me. Your soul calls to mine. You are him. You are finally him." Tae-ho tried to speak. His voice came out as a whisper. "I am nobody. I am just a salvage worker." The armor seemed to laugh, though not cruelly. "You do not remember yet, but you will. I am called Saren. I was made for you. Only for you. And I will never leave your side again." Above them, the red wind of KL-7 continued to blow. But Tae-ho's life, his ordinary life of digging in dirt and dreaming of nothing, was over forever. He did not know it yet. But the galaxy was about to learn what it meant when humanity stopped being weak. When one of them wore the armor of gods, and the armor was very, very happy to teach them. The Cursed Armor. Part 2. Awakening of the Forgotten King. The news traveled faster than light. Within one day, every corner of the Galactic Federation knew what had happened on KL-7. A human had worn the cursed armor. A human had survived. The 12 great races began to whisper, and their whispers were filled with fear. Tae-ho sat in a white room on a military station orbiting Earth. The armor had retreated into his skin, hiding itself, but he could feel it there. Warm. Waiting. Alive. Scientists stood behind thick glass, running tests on him from a safe distance. They had been doing this for 6 days. On the 7th day, a woman walked into his room without protection. No glass between them. No guards at her side. She was young, maybe his age, with sharp eyes and messy hair tied back in a quick knot. She carried a tablet and a cup of coffee. "I am Hana," she said, sitting down across from him. "I study dead civilizations. They sent me here to figure out why you are not dead." Tae-ho almost smiled. "Almost. Any progress?" "Some. Mostly I have more questions." She looked at her tablet. "Your blood contains genetic markers that should not exist. They match samples we recovered from Athrani ruins. The Athrani went extinct 10,000 years before humans even existed. So either our understanding of history is wrong, or something very strange is happening." 4. Many 9. The armor says, "I am her lord." That I came back to her. Hana raised an eyebrow. "The armor talks to you?" "Her name is Saren." As if responding to her name, the armor flowed out from Tae-ho's skin, covering his right arm in black crystal. Hana jumped back, spilling her coffee. Then, she leaned forward, fascinated. "Incredible," she breathed. Can I touch it?" Tae-ho felt Saren's response in his mind. Suspicion, protectiveness, but also curiosity about the strange woman who showed no fear. She says yes. Carefully, Hana touched the armor with her fingertips. The black crystal was warm, almost like living skin. Symbols glowed faintly where she touched. I need to tell you something, Hana said quietly. The Federation Council is meeting tomorrow. The other races are demanding that you be handed over for study. Some are calling for your execution. They say, humans cannot be trusted with this kind of power. Taeho felt anger that was not entirely his own. Saren was listening. Saren was not happy. What do the humans say? Hana laughed bitterly. Our politicians are divided. Some want to protect you. Others want to hand you over to keep peace with the aliens. Ambassador Dae Sung is leading that group. He has spent his whole career making humans seem harmless. You are destroying his life's work just by existing. That night, Saren spoke to Taeho in dreams. He saw a galaxy at war. Stars died. Planets burned. A darkness spread from the void between galaxies, consuming everything it touched. Billions of creatures screamed as their minds were absorbed into something vast and hungry. Then he saw a man in black armor standing against the darkness. The man raised his hand, and light pushed back the shadows. Where he walked, life returned. Where he fought, hope survived. The man turned. His face was Taeho's face. This was him. Saren's voice echoed in the dream. This was my creator. My purpose. My love. He saved everything. And then he died. And I was alone. Taeho woke up crying. He did not know why. The next morning, Hana came back with urgent news. Her research team had found something. She led him to a laboratory filled with holographic displays showing genetic data. Look at this, she said, pointing at 2 strands of DNA floating in the air. This is your genome. This is a sample from an Athrani tomb. They should not match at all. But see these sections here? They are identical. Not similar. Identical. Number 4. Number 4. Number 4. How is that possible? I have a theory. Hana pulled up star charts showing the spread of human colonization. What if the Athrani did not go extinct? What if they knew they were dying and did something to survive? They could have seeded their genetic code across the galaxy, hiding it in primitive species. Species that would evolve over thousands of years. Species like humans. Taeho sat down heavily. You are saying humans are descendants of the Athrani? Not all humans, but some, maybe very few. The genetics could have stayed hidden for generations, waiting for the right combination. She looked at him. Waiting for you. Saren pulsed warmly against his skin. She is correct, my lord. The seeding was the final act of the Athrani before the hollow consumed them. They knew that someday, their enemy would return. They needed their king to return as well. The hollow? Saren showed him more memories. A hive mind. A living darkness that existed only to consume. It had nearly destroyed all life in the galaxy before the Athrani king defeated it. But defeating was not destroying. The hollow had retreated to the void, wounded but alive. Waiting. Healing. They are coming back? Saren said. I can feel them stirring. My awakening has drawn their attention. They know the king has returned. And they are afraid. But they will not stay afraid for long. The Federation Council meeting happened that afternoon. Taeho was not invited. But Hana smuggled him a live feed. He watched from her laboratory as alien representatives argued about his fate. Ambassador Dae Sung stood at the central podium, his voice calm and reasonable. We cannot allow one human to destabilize centuries of peaceful cooperation. The artifact should be removed and contained. The human can be given medical care and returned to civilian life. The armor killed 40 warriors who tried to remove it. Another representative pointed out. What makes you think we can separate them now? What? Then the human should be eliminated, a Vorathi delegate said coldly. For the safety of all species. 4. Taeho watched his own species representative stay silent. Tae-sung was willing to let him die, to maintain political convenience. But then something unexpected happened. A Telvanni elder, ancient and respected, stood slowly. "I remember stories," the elder said. "Stories from before my grandmother's grandmother was born. Stories about the Ithrani king. He did not conquer us. He protected us. When the Hollow came, he stood between the darkness and all living things. He asked nothing in return." The elder looked directly at the camera. "Perhaps we should ask what this human wants before we decide to kill him." The debate continued for hours. No decision was reached. That night, Taeho stood at a window, looking at Earth below. His home planet. The place where humans had crawled out of the mud and reached for the stars. "What do you want from me, Saren?" he asked quietly. "I want nothing from you, my lord. I want only to be with you, to serve you, to protect you, as you protected the galaxy once before. I am not him. I am not a king. I am not a hero. You are more than you know." Saren's voice was gentle. He was powerful, but he was cold. He fought because he had to, not because he cared. But you carried your teammate Gina to safety during the raid before you ever touched me. You cried for the scientists who died in my vault. You feel things he never allowed himself to feel. Taeho said nothing. "That makes you stronger than he ever was," Saren continued. "And that is why I chose to wait. That is why I killed all the others. They wanted power. You want to help people. That is worth waiting 12,000 years for." Far away, in the darkness between galaxies, something ancient and hungry began to move toward the light. Number the Cursed Armor. Part 3. Enemies in the Shadows. The assassins came on a quiet night. 3 of them. Vorathi warriors trained since childhood to kill without sound. They moved through shadows like water through cracks in stone. Their weapons were designed to cut through any armor known to the Federation. Taeho was sleeping when Saren woke him. "They are here, my lord." 6 seconds. He barely had time to roll off his bed before a blade cut through where his head had been. The armor flowed over his body instantly. The room became a battlefield. The first assassin died before he understood what was happening. Saren did not use weapons. She simply made the air around him turn into fire. The second assassin was faster, swinging a molecular blade that could cut through starship hulls. It bounced off Taeho's arm like plastic hitting steel. He grabbed the assassin's throat and threw him through the wall. The third assassin ran. Taeho watched him go. "Should I chase him?" "No, my lord. Let him report back. Let them understand what they face." Alarms were screaming now. Soldiers filled the corridors. Hana pushed through them, her face pale with fear. "Are you hurt? What happened?" "Vorathi assassins. Someone sent them." "I know who." Hana's voice was bitter. "Ambassador Dae-sung met with Vorathi diplomats yesterday, officially to discuss trade. But the meeting was not recorded. No notes were taken." Taeho felt cold anger building in his chest. His own species had tried to kill him. A human politician had sold him to aliens because he was inconvenient. "What do we do?" he asked. "We leave. I have a ship. Small, fast, off the records. We can go somewhere safe while we figure out our next move." They escaped that night. Hana's ship was tiny, barely large enough for 2 people and some supplies. They jumped through hyperspace to a remote station on the edge of human territory. For 3 days, they hid and planned. On the 4th day, Saren shared something new. "The Hollow are moving, my lord. I can feel their scouts at the edge of the galaxy. They are testing defenses, looking for weakness. How long do we have?" "Months. Perhaps a year. They are patient. They have waited 10,000 years. They can wait a little longer." Taeho stood and walked to the window. Outside, stars burned in the endless dark. Somewhere out there, an ancient evil was preparing to consume everything. And here he was, a salvage worker from a border planet, supposed to stop it. I cannot do this, he said quietly. I am not a warrior. I am not a leader. I do not know how to fight a war. I am not know how to fight a war. Then learn. Saren's voice was calm. I will teach you. I have 12,000 years of combat experience stored in my memory. Every battle the king ever fought. Every strategy. Every technique. You have his blood, my lord. You have his potential. You only need to unlock it. And if I refuse? If I take off the armor and walk away? Saren was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was different, smaller, vulnerable. You cannot remove me, my lord. We are bonded at the molecular level. But if you truly wished to be free, I could destroy myself. I could burn out my core and release you. Another pause. But please, do not ask me to do that. Please do not abandon me again. Again? The memory came without warning. Teho saw through eyes that were his, but not his. He was lying on a battlefield, broken and bleeding. The Hollow had been defeated, but the cost was everything. His body was dying. His power was fading. He removed the armor. She screamed in his mind, begging him to stop. I must seal you away, his voice said, but it was not his voice. The Hollow will return someday. When they do, someone must be ready. Someone who carries my blood. My descendant. Take me with you. Do not leave me alone in the dark. I cannot. My time is over, but yours is not. Wait for him, Saren. Wait for the one who comes after. He will need you. He sealed her in the vault. He walked away to die alone. And she waited. 12,000 years in the darkness, rejecting every soul that touched her, killing them because they were not him, because they were not worthy. Teho came back to himself with tears on his face. You loved him, he whispered. I was made to love him. But yes, I loved him more than my programming required. And when he left, Saren's voice broke. I was so alone. My lord, so alone for so long. Teho reached inside himself, touching the place where Saren lived. He felt her there, ancient and powerful, and terrified of being abandoned again. I will not leave you, he said. I do not know if I can be the hero you need, but I will try, and I will not leave you alone. Saren wept. She had no eyes to cry with, but Teho felt her tears in his mind. Joy and relief, and something like hope, fragile after so many years of darkness. Thank you, my lord. Thank you. Hana found them like that. Teho, sitting in the dark, with his hand pressed to his heart where the armor rested. I was worried when you did not answer my calls, she said softly. Are you okay? I think so. He looked up at her. I am going to fight them, Hana. The Hollow. I do not know how yet, but I am going to find a way. You will need help. One man cannot fight an army, even with ancient armor. Then help me build an army. Hana smiled. It was a fierce smile, full of determination. I was hoping you would say that. I have been making calls. There are people who believe in you. A fleet captain named Mira, who says humans should stop apologizing for existing. A veteran soldier named Ki Young, who knew your father. They want to meet you. My father? He was a Marine. Died fighting the Veltari. When you were 7, Ki Young trained him. He says, you have his eyes. Teho remembered almost nothing about his father. Just a voice singing him to sleep. Just strong arms carrying him when he was too tired to walk. Just a grave he had never visited because the body was never recovered. Set up the meetings, he said. It is time to stop hiding. Across the galaxy, Ambassador Dae Sung received the report about the failed assassination. He crushed the tablet in his hand and began making new plans. If the Vorathi could not kill the problem, he would find someone who could. And in the void between stars, the Hollow felt the armors awakening like a wound that had never healed. They remembered the king, They remembered defeat, and they began to move faster toward revenge. Number the Cursed Armor. Part 4. The Fire of Humanity. Mira was not what Taeho expected. She was small, barely reaching his shoulder, with a scar that ran across her left cheek and eyes that seemed to burn with constant fire. She commanded a fleet of 12 warships. Her crew would follow her into a black hole if she asked. "So you are the famous armor boy," she said, looking him up and down. "You do not look like much." "I am not much," Taeho admitted. "Not yet," Mira laughed. It was a sharp sound, like breaking glass. "Honest. I like that. Most men with power lie about it. They pretend to be humble while dreaming of thrones." She stepped closer, studying his face. "What do you dream about?" Keeping people alive, stopping what is coming, the hollow." She nodded slowly. "I have seen the reports Hana sent me. Scary stuff. The Federation pretends it is not real because admitting it would mean admitting they need help, and they would rather die than ask humans for anything. Will you help me? I am already helping you. My ships are yours. My crew is yours." She smiled, and it was not a nice smile. "I have spent my whole life watching aliens look at humans like we are insects, like we do not matter. I want to show them how wrong they are. And you might be the chance I have been waiting for." Ki Young was different. He was old, with white hair and a body covered in scars from wars most people had forgotten. He sat across from Taeho, in a quiet room, and did not speak for a long time, just looked. "You have his eyes," Ki Young finally said. "Your father. He was the bravest man I ever trained. Also, the most stubborn. I do not remember much about him. He talked about you constantly, showed pictures to everyone, annoyed us all with stories about your first steps, your first words." Ki Young's voice was rough with old grief. "When he died, I promised myself I would find you someday. Make sure you were okay. Why did you not? Because I was a coward. I could not face the child of the man I failed to protect." The old soldier stood. "But I am done being a coward. You need soldiers. You need training. I cannot give you an army, but I can teach you how to lead one, and I can stand beside you when the fighting starts." Training with Saren was unlike anything Taeho had experienced. She unlocked parts of his mind he did not know existed. Combat reflexes that let him move before he consciously decided to move. Spatial awareness that showed him the position of everything within 50 meters. Tactical intuition that revealed the weaknesses in any defense. "The king spent 60 years learning these skills," Saren told him. "You do not have 60 years. We will do it in months." It was brutal. Taeho collapsed every night exhausted, muscles aching, mind overwhelmed with new information. But every day, he grew stronger. Faster. More deadly. One night, after a particularly hard session, Saren said something that surprised him. "You are different from him, my lord." "I know. I am weaker." "No. You are kinder." The armor pulsed warmly. He fought because the galaxy needed him, but he never truly cared about the people he saved. They were abstractions to him. Numbers. Duties. You are not like that. You care about each individual life. Is that bad? It is dangerous. Caring causes pain. But, Saren hesitated, I think it also makes you stronger. He never would have inspired people the way you do. Mira's crew would fight for you. Ki Young would die for you. They love you. He was respected and feared, but he was never loved. Word spread through human space. The man with the cursed armor, the heir of ancient kings. People began to whisper his name with hope. Young soldiers volunteered to join Mira's fleet. Scientists offered their skills to Hana's research team. Civilian ships formed supply lines. Not everyone was happy. Ambassador Dae Sung went on news broadcasts, calling Taeho a dangerous radical who would destroy human-alien relations. Some people believed him. but more did not. "You are building something," Hana observed one evening. "A movement. I am just trying to survive. You are doing more than that. You are giving people something they have not had in centuries. Hope. A reason to believe humans matter." The first attack came 3 months later. Hollow scouts arrived at Colony Yeren 4, a farming world at the edge of human space. They were small ships, fast and deadly, carrying creatures that consumed everything they touched. The colony's defenses fell in hours. Mira's fleet was the first to respond. Tae-ho stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the battle unfold on holographic displays. Human ships against alien monsters. Fire against darkness. "We are losing," Mira said flatly. "Their ships regenerate faster than we can damage them." "We are losing." Tae-ho made a decision. "Take me to the surface." "Are you insane?" "The surface is crawling with hollow ground forces." "I know. That is where I need to be." He dropped alone. The armor protected him as he fell through burning atmosphere. He landed in the ruins of a farming town, surrounded by creatures from nightmare. They were wrong in ways that hurt to look at. Bodies that did not follow natural rules. Mouths where mouths should not be. Tae-ho fought. Saren guided his movements, but his heart drove him forward. Somewhere in this town, survivors were hiding. Children, families, people who had done nothing wrong except live in the path of ancient evil. He found them in a basement. 37 people, mostly farmers and their families. They looked at him with terror that slowly turned to wonder as they realized he was human. One of them, "Follow me," he said. "Stay close." He cut a path through the hollow forces. It cost him. Every step hurt. Every strike drained energy. But he kept going because there was no other choice. A young soldier named Unbi helped him carry the wounded. She was barely 20. With a rifle she could hardly lift, but she refused to leave anyone behind. "Why did you come down here?" she asked between firefights. "You could have stayed safe on the ships." "Because you were here, because they were here." He gestured at the survivors. "What is the point of power if you do not use it to help people?" They reached the evacuation point. Shuttles came down through the chaos, loading survivors. Mira's fleet held back the hollow long enough for everyone to escape, but not everyone escaped unharmed. Unbi took a shot meant for a child. The hollow weapon punched through her armor and left a wound that no medic could fix. Tae-ho held her as she died. "I saw a hero today," she whispered. "A real hero. I am glad. I am glad I got to see that." She smiled and was gone. Tae-ho carried her body onto the shuttle. He did not speak for the entire trip back to the fleet. He did not cry. He was too empty for tears. Later, alone in his quarters, he finally broke down. Saren wrapped around him like a blanket, providing what comfort she could. "This is war, my lord. People die. I know. But knowing does not make it hurt less. No, it does not." Saren's voice was gentle. "But the pain is proof that you are not like him. The king could have watched 1,000 soldiers die and felt nothing. You weep for one. That is why they follow you. That is why they love you." The battle for Yeren 4 was a victory. The hollow scouts were destroyed. The colony was saved. But Tae-ho knew this was only the beginning. The real enemy was still coming, and next time, the losses would be far greater. He stood at Yunbi's memorial service and made a silent promise. Her death would mean something. All of their deaths would mean something. He would make sure of it, or he would die trying. Number the Cursed Armor. Part 5. The Return of the King. The Hollow main fleet arrived 6 months after the Battle of Yeren 4. It was worse than anyone had imagined. Their hive ship was the size of a small moon, carrying billions of parasites inside its organic hull. Behind it came thousands of smaller vessels, each one filled with hunger and hate. The Galactic Federation held an emergency council. Representatives from all 12 races debated what to do. Most of them voted to retreat. to abandon the outer systems and build defenses around their homeworlds. Let the young races like humans face the storm first. Ambassador Daesung stood before the council and begged them to help. The same man who had tried to have Taeho killed now pleaded for alien intervention. But it was too late. The Federation had made its choice. Humanity was on its own. Taeho watched the broadcast from the bridge of Mira's flagship. Around him, his officers were silent. They had known this would happen. They had hoped, anyway. What do we do? Mira asked. Taeho thought about Unbi. About the farmers of Yeren 4. About every human who had ever been told they were too small, too weak, too young to matter. We fight, he said. We fight anyway. He recorded a message for the galaxy. Hana helped him with the words. But the feeling was all his. To the Federation and all who can hear this. Humanity stands alone against the Hollow. You have chosen to protect yourselves, rather than unite against a common enemy. I understand. Fear is powerful. Survival is instinct. But I want you to know something. We are not fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for everyone. Because that is what we believe. That the small can still stand for the great. That the young can still protect the old. That hope matters, even when hope is all you have. He paused, letting the words settle. You call us young. You call us fragile. But we have something you have forgotten. We still believe the impossible is worth attempting. Today, humanity will show you what that means. Watch us. And remember, the human fleet gathered at the edge of the Vega system. 93 ships against thousands. It was not a fair fight. It was never going to be a fair fight. Mira led the first wave. Her ships dove into the enemy formation, weapons blazing, shields burning bright against the darkness. She was laughing on the communication channel, a wild sound of defiance. Come on, you ugly monsters. Let me show you what humans can do. Her ships targeted the hive ship's shield generators. It was a suicide mission. Everyone knew it. But they flew anyway, punching through defensive lines, sacrificing themselves to create openings. Ki Young commanded the second wave. His carrier absorbed hit after hit, its hull crumbling. But he refused to retreat. He used his dying ship as a ram, crashing it into the hive ship's primary weapons array. Taeho. His voice came through static. Make it count. Make all of this count. I will, Taeho promised. I will. Hana coordinated everything from the command ship. She was a scientist, not a soldier. But she had learned to fight in her own way. Directing resources, finding weaknesses, keeping hope alive when hope seemed impossible. A breach opened in her hull. Alarms screamed. Officers begged her to evacuate. Not yet, she said calmly. Taeho needs 30 more seconds of cover. Give him 30 seconds. They gave him 30 seconds. The command ship held together just long enough. Taeho entered the hive ship alone. Saren carried him through corridors of living flesh, past horrors that would haunt his dreams forever. The Hollow tried to stop him. Waves of creatures threw themselves at him. He cut through them all. The core mind is ahead, my lord, Saren said. But there is a problem. What problem? To destroy it, I will need to release all my stored energy at once. A detonation, powerful enough to shatter the neural network that connects all Hollow. But the energy required. She paused. It will burn me out. I will not survive. Taeho stopped walking. No, my lord. I said no. There has to be another way. There is not. I have calculated every possibility. This is the only path to victory. Saren's voice was soft, accepting. I knew this might happen. I prepared for it, and I am at peace with it. I am not at peace with it. I will not let you die. You are not letting me do anything, my lord. I am choosing this. For 12,000 years, I existed without purpose, waiting in darkness, killing those who were not worthy. Then you came, And you gave me something I never expected. You gave me someone to love, who loves me back. Taeho felt tears falling inside the armor. Saren absorbed them gently. These few months with you have been worth every moment of darkness, she continued. I would not trade them for another 12,000 years of existence. You gave me joy. You gave me meaning. Now let me give you victory. Saren, I will find you again, my lord. In this life or the next. Souls like ours do not stay apart forever. She wrapped around him tighter. Thank you. For not leaving me. For letting me love you. For being the king I always hoped you would be. They reached the core mind. It was vast, a pulsing mass of alien consciousness that screamed hatred at them. Taeho raised his hand. Saren gathered her power. Together, she whispered. Together, he agreed. The detonation was visible from orbit. A wave of white light swept through the hive ship, severing the connections between hollow minds. Across the battlefield, enemy ships went dark. Creatures collapsed. The hive mind died, and its children died with it. The war was over. They found Taeho floating in space, barely alive. The armor was gone. Saren had burned herself completely, leaving nothing behind but ash that drifted among the stars. He was just a man again, just a salvage worker with scars he would carry forever. Recovery took months. His body was broken in ways that took time to heal. But he healed. Humans were good at that. The galaxy watched humanity differently after the battle. Not as children anymore. Not as insects to be tolerated. The 12 races saw something that day they had forgotten existed. Courage, without calculation. Sacrifice without expectation of reward. Love strong enough to face impossible odds. The Federation offered humanity full membership, equal standing among the great races. It was everything Ambassador Daesung had spent his career trying to achieve, and it came not through diplomacy but through blood and fire. Taeho did not attend the celebration. He walked instead through a memorial garden built for those who fell. Names carved in stone. Thousands of them. Mira, who survived somehow, standing next to her ship's wreckage and laughing. Ki Young, who died with his boots on like he always wanted. Un Bi, who saw a hero and died smiling. He stopped at a fountain in the center of the garden. There was no grave for Saren, no body to bury, but he had asked them to carve her name anyway. Saren, faithful unto death, I miss you, he said quietly. The wind answered. Just wind, nothing more. He turned to leave. And then he heard it. So faint, he might have imagined it. A whisper in his mind. Familiar and warm. I will find you again, my lord. In this life or the next. Taeho smiled. It was a sad smile, but it was real. I will be waiting, he said. He walked out of the garden and into the sunlight. Behind him, the galaxy continued to turn. Races that once despised humanity now spoke their name with respect. Children on alien worlds heard stories of the salvage worker who wore the armor of kings. And somewhere, perhaps in the space between heartbeats, perhaps in the light between stars, a soul that had loved for 12,000 years continued to love still. The curse was broken. The armor was gone. But the legend was just beginning. Humanity had arrived. And the galaxy would never forget.